Hi, my name is Hazel Johnson and I'm a member of the Technical Services team at Oxford Nanopore Technologies. In this video, I'll talk about the importance of assessing your input DNA or RNA thoroughly before beginning library preparation, as low molecular weight, incorrectly quantified and/or contaminated sample could significantly impact your sequencing run. One of the three important sample QC metrics is DNA quantity. Incorrect DNA quantification could result in starting with less DNA input than recommended, resulting in reduced sequencing throughput. We would not recommend the use of NanoDrop as it is not selective and unable to distinguish between DNA, RNA, or protein and is easily affected by other contaminants like free nucleotides, salts, and organic compounds, as well as variations in base composition. Qubit measurements, on the other hand, are specific to DNA and less influenced by carryover dNTPs and RNA in the sample. In addition, the sensitivity of spectrophotometer is often inadequate, prohibiting quantification of DNA and RNA at low concentrations. You need to take special care if you have high concentration, high molecular weight DNA preparations, particularly those with heavy RNA contamination, as these can lack homogeneity, which can result in their inaccurate quantification. For DNA quantification, we recommend using the Qubit Broad Range Kit, as it is less influenced by RNA in comparison to the high sensitivity kit. Moving on to purity assessment. This is also important as contaminants carried over from the extraction can interfere with the library prep steps, resulting in reduced efficiency and sequencing yield. To check purity, we would recommend the use of the NanoDrop. The NanoDrop gives a good indication of the purity of your sample. Pure DNA should give an A260-280 ratio of 1.8 and A260-230 ratio of between 2 and 2.2. An A260-280 ratio greater than 1.8 is indicative of RNA contamination, whilst lower than 1.8 indicates protein or phenol contamination. A260-230 ratios less than 2, on the other hand, can indicate the presence of carryover carbohydrate, phenol, guanidine, and glycogen from the sample extraction. If your sample isn't clean, please do seriously consider repurifying your DNA. If additional purification is not possible, then amplification of the library by PCR can be performed to improve the purity of your sample. So what are we robust to? We spiked in a number of what we consider common contaminants that could be carried over from standard extraction techniques, such as EDTA, salt, guanidine, and phenol, and looked at their influence on NanoDrop readings and on library preparation efficiency for both ligation sequencing kit for DNA and PCR cDNA sequencing kit for RNA. This table shows the permissible levels of each of the contaminants tested. This is available on the knowledge section of the community for more information. So while NanoDrop readings are a good place to start, it isn't the only authority on purity and subsequent performance. The two plots on the right shows how even though the presence of sodium chloride cannot be detected as contaminant by NanoDrop, in contrast to guanidine hydrochloride, their presence nonetheless greatly affects sequencing performance. Assessment of fragment length. If you want long reads in your sequencing, you need long fragments after the extraction. There are a variety of methods available to assess fragment length. The Agilent Bioanalyzer or an ordinary agarose gel electrophoresis are good for fragments up to 20 kb or less. However, for fragments greater than that, you begin to reach the limits of these methods. Then we would suggest using pulse-filled gel electrophoresis or the femtopulse. Though these two methods are considered state-of-the-art, they don't guarantee concordance. We took some E. coli DNA and checked the fragment length using both methods and observed quite different fragment length distributions. Although both methods indicate the presence of long fragments which we observed in the downstream sequencing. Molecular quantification of the sample requires knowledge of the size of the material too. However, as the figures show, accurate quantification of certain genomic DNA samples can be tricky. That is why for genomic DNA, we try to keep it simple and recommend an input of 1 microgram for the ligation sequencing kit, safe in the knowledge that you'll be loading sufficient material to keep the pores filled, but not overloading. For short fragment libraries, it's easier to overload the flow cell and inhibit throughput, so molar quantification is recommended, but this is easier as short fragment libraries tend to have less of a spread of fragment lengths. For RNA, RIN or RNA integrity number is essential. It is a measure of the sample integrity that is calculated by assessing the ratio of ribosomal RNA molecules. Therefore, the higher the RIN value, the better the overall quality of the sample. The software on the Agilent Bioanalyzer is able to calculate RIN value. So we recommend using this, and we have found that there is a decent correlation between RIN and observed read lengths. If you found this video useful, you can browse through more content on the Nanopore Learning Lesson Library, and you can also check our support page to find frequently asked questions on library prep, devices, software, and more. Thanks for watching this video. This video may refer to different aspects and specific versions of the technology. Remember to check the Nanopore community website for updates on the latest features and to ensure you are using the latest versions of software, devices, kits, and protocols.